Lights so bright, ideals flash in the night. Opponents stand side by side. Cultures collide, nowhere to hide. This meet dreams in the street. History on repeat. Our world's in a spin. Let the future begin.
Shining like a star in this atomic age, and brighter by far. Untouchable energy, it's a glowing affair. Ready, ready, I'll take you everywhere. I'm untouchable now, filled with power in the air. Radioactive rhythm, but sense without care. Electric and alive in this atomic embrace. Unstoppable now in this glowing space.
In the heart they gather strong, pushing back the lefty strong. With the red banner held high, marching forward through the night. Promises of old will keep, as the donkeys start to weep. Stars and stripes forever sway, in the land of the brave we stay. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down.
With a flagpole planted firm,
golden dreams that won't decay,
marching proudly through the day.
In the eagle's shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive, in the light of freedom's guide. We got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down.
We stand firm in our belief.
Hold tight.
Through the times clearer we can see. Crazy world spinning round.
Stay grounded.
In our hearts simple truths of breathe. Whisper of freedom and liberty.
Rings true.
Our foundation strong and deep. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In the story we built for trust in you,
No doubt.
time flies but we won't bend. Communists talk loud and fast.
Stay solid.
Our quiet strength is our reply. So salute to change but pause.
Reflect.
In unity our dearest friend. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In shadows we find our light. Through chaos we stay upright. With courage, faith on our side.
Forever.
Standing firm, our guide. Holding on to what we know. While the rest of the world lets go. Steady path we choose to follow. While the winds of change blow.
Times are changing, feel the buzzing. Staying true when they're fussing. Keep the flag a-flying through stormy nights. With the star-spangled banner, I stand tall with manners. Cross my heart with hope in sight. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and free, with liberty. Stick to values in the trends. Families gather, let's defend. Hold the line, keep the bond alive. Truth in our vision. In God we make decisions for our dream. Through thrive and strive. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie. With liberty. We'll keep fighting for what's right, standing strong in the night. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and bravery, with liberty.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Culturama, where on this show we are reclaiming the zeitgeist of traditional Americana back into the United States, where we are trying to work and fight against the infection of postmodernism that has truly infected higher academic institutions as well as the federal government. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on this wonderful Valentine's Day stream. I know it isn't Valentine's Day quite yet. I will be busy tomorrow, actually, but I decided to make today, Thursday, the Valentine's Day stream. So this is like Valentine's Day Eve, as one can call it. And as you can see, with the theme of the show, clearly we have the theme going on. I have the decorations in the back here. I've had it up for just a few days now. And of course, I have my Valentine's Day ears as well. So I hope you guys appreciate some of the thematics I have going on here. Of course, I won't be wearing this entire stream, but at least for the introduction, I think you guys will enjoy it. So we have a lot to cover today, other than obviously the holiday. You know, it is all about love, and just like how Trump said it, it's all about love, folks. And that's what this stream today will be about, is about loving the changes that are happening in this country, loving the changes that the administration is doing in this country, and of course, the social changes and the cultural changes that are happening. So it's going to be a really fun stream today. We have quite a bit to cover in the news before I get into more of the philosophical or the cultural topics. DOGE, of course, once again is in the news. They have found improper spending in the trillions done by the federal government. Who would have guessed, right? Jon Stewart made a scathing analysis of the DNC, and we will come to see in this stream that liberals and Democrats and progressives haven't learned. I don't know how many times they need to learn this lesson, old man. They are still weighing in and leaning into the identity politics, and we have a few videos to watch about that. And we have a lot to clown on the progressives in this stream, so that will be fun. Of course, we're gonna love everyone on this stream. Culturama, even though we are more conservative, I am open to having other voices on this stream, and we always keep an open mind because, like I say on this stream, we are trying to reclaim the zeitgeist, and that includes both sides of the story and all aspects of the story. So, of course, I intend to have more progressives on this stream in the future to voice their opinions if they are willing to show up on this show. Anyways, what else do we have? Oh, my goodness. We're going to be talking about the rising right, the ascendant right, and a little bit of Christian nationalism. Yes, I know. It is a tired topic, but it is a true topic. It is Christian nationalism is making the rounds in the right-wing youth, and it's difficult to ignore. So I'll be talking about that as well. But before I do that, I like to say hello to people in the chat, and I know I've been talking to I believe Nelson65 it was in the chat, said that he ordered a pillow from the Culturama collection shop. And yes, I do also refer to it as the grift shop, but I will be talking about that on stream a little bit more later on. I'll be showing and shilling my products, but this is one of them. Like, for instance, we have the Culturama pillow with the logo of the Culturama cult on it. We also have the Culturama mug as well with yours truly, and in this mug we have the Culturama coffee. Now, I hate to bring up my products so soon in the stream. However, like I said, someone in the chat, Nelson65 in the chat, said that he had just purchased a Leo pillow, and Unleash the Beast pillow. And for those that don't know, Leo is my dog, and we made a pillow of him. And so I want to congratulate Nelson for, I believe, being the first or perhaps the second one to purchase the pillow. I think you're the first, Nelson65. So thank you so much for being the first contributor in purchasing the Leo the Beast pillow. And as part of the tradition of this stream, we do have the Unleash the Beast meter. And hold on a second. I know this is not everyone's favorite, but as part of the tradition, if we get a certain amount of donations, I will bring my dysgenic dog on the stream. It's a little treat. I'm going to have his ransom up a little higher because I'll admit it, I've been spoiling you guys with Leo's presence. So I will put up the ransom at $70. If we happen to reach $70 on this stream, no pressure. But if we do, I'm obligated to bring my dog on the stream. I'm raising it up little by little on every stream. So that's just a little competition to keep things fun and lively. So anyway, referring back to the chat, I do want to say hello to the usuals. Like I said, Nelson65, thank you for joining, and thank you for purchasing that Leo the Beast pillow. You are amazing. Thank you so much. We also have Mr. Pig in the chat. He says he loves the ears. Thank you, Mr. Pig. Floby Tenderson. Welcome, Floby, to the chat. It's good to see you again. And Robbie Thurman, of course. Hello, Robbie Thurman. It looks like Robbie Thurman has gifted people in the chat. Thank you so much, Robbie, for gifting the membership to Floby Tenderson. Wonderful. Already we're seeing some major moves in the chat. Leoflation, exactly, Mr. Pig. We are experiencing major Leoflation. So, anyways, thank you so. The cult of Milady. Yes, Mr. Pig. Culturama is a cult. It is the Milady cult. I am kidding. We are the cult of reclaiming the zeitgeist. That's what Culturama is about. Also, just so you guys are aware, Culturama and the For Liberty Network, the network that I'm a part of, we are back on X, okay? We are back on X. The For Liberty Network was momentarily hacked for a little bit, at least Austin Peterson's Twitter was, and so we were unable to stream for quite a few days now on X, but we are finally back on X. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm glad that X finally came on board in protecting in allowing the stream to thrive and protecting free speech. So thank you, X, for finally getting back to Austin Peterson so I and everyone else on the For Liberty Network can stream on X. That being said, we are going to have more of a viewership on there, but as always, I like to say, please share the stream. Like and share the stream of Rumble. You can share the link, or if you're watching on Twitter, welcome. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and share the stream on Twitter as well. It goes a long way. Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I know I'm calling it both. Please share it. It goes a long way in supporting the stream. If you cannot donate a Rumble Rant or, purchase any of my products, like I say, on the shop, please share and like the stream. It really helps this show, and it reaches more. It reaches more of an audience. I'm not down with the Democrats, but I'll drink me some For Liberty Kool-Aid daily, says Floby Tenderson. Thank you so much for that, Floby. I am not offering Kool-Aid, but what I am offering is the Culturama coffee, Floby. So if you're interested in drinking something as part of the Culturama cult, please go down to the Culturama collection shop and get yourself a bag of Culturama coffee. I will be showing that later on the stream. Anyway, I don't want to grift my products too soon. I'm sorry. Bye, Leo Pillow, sells Nelson 65. Indeed. AP for Liberty says that he is so happy to be back on X. I am happy as well. Anyways, I have a lot of fun stories for you guys, and I do want to just jump into it right away. Other things in the news, of course, is I forgot to mention RFK has been confirmed. It has been confirmed, everyone. Do I have a good sound effect for that? I don't think so. I'll just play the Italian song again. RFK has been confirmed. We are celebrating Maha, and he is going to make America healthy again. Now, regardless of what you think of RFK, this is still big news. Obviously, we have been expecting him to be confirmed, but I'm still celebrating that because, boy, has he been. I mean, he's been so heavily pressed in the confirmation hearings. So I'm glad to see that he has been pushed through. Anyways, but I did want to let me pull up an article about that, and then I wanted to jump right into a really fun conspiratorial video with you guys, because I know that my audience enjoys a little bit of the conspiracy theories, a little bit of the secret societies. So I'll be playing a video about that in a moment, but let me pull up the RFK article so we can cover that first, because I know it's like headline news right now. Everyone's been talking about it, and well, I should probably talk about it with you guys. So let me pull that up for you. Robbie Thurman, yes, she's hotter than a road flare in a keg of gunpowder. I wonder if you're talking about me, Robbie Thurman. If so, thank you. Anyways, I don't know. I wasn't reading the rest of the chat here, but okay. I want to see if you guys can see that behind me. Yes, you can. Okay, great. So the Senate votes to confirm Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as health secretary. Kennedy managed to allay the concerns of the several key GOP senators over his anti-vaccine activism. Mitch McConnell was the lone Republican to vote against him. What a surprise! Who would have guessed that old turtle Mitch McConnell would have voted against RFK? Just a quick read. The GOP-controlled Senate voted today to confirm RFK. It was earlier where I live. Here was in the morning time. A longtime anti-vaccine activist, they will never stop mentioning that part, to lead the country's most powerful health care agency, the HHS. Kennedy was confirmed as a Health and Human Services Secretary on mostly a party line vote of 52 to 48. Congratulations to him. Mitch McConnell broke ranks on yet another of President Donald Trump's cabinet nominees, joining the Democrats in the opposition. When will we finally get rid of these people? What's the term I'm looking for? The gerontocracy, I think is what it's called, when you have the old people running all the institutions. We need to get rid of this. I don't know what you guys think about term limits, but clearly people like Mitch McConnell are now experiencing major signs of illness. He has fallen. He has frozen on camera before. Clearly, this man is not mentally well. And for him to be such a stick in the mud concerning all these developments, concerning the wave that is happening in the institution of federal government, it's quite unfortunate that he has voted this way. Of course, perhaps you could say that Mitch McConnell forgot to take his medication, and this is simply the explanation for why he has voted this way. Still, Thursday's vote was another win for Trump, all of whose cabinet-level nominees who have come before the Senate have been approved. Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch swore Kennedy in Thursday afternoon in the Oval Office. Trump introduced him, saying there was no better person to lead our campaign of historic reforms and restore faith in American healthcare. Well, I'm happy about that. I am looking forward to the beef tallow in my McDonald's fries. I really do hope that actually comes to fruition, because I have never had the experience of eating beef tallow in my McDonald's fries. I was born in 95, and as far as I'm aware, they stopped doing that before 95. So hopefully we can get back to greatness, civilizationally and culturally. And one of the indicators of that is beef tallow in your French fries. Anyway, let's watch this video. Freemasons break years of silence in a bizarre TikTok promo. The Freemasons have gotten their hands on TikTok, everyone. Brace yourselves. The clip aims to debunk the myths of the organization, okay? So if you have anything against the Freemasons, please relax yourselves, okay? These are legitimate folks that are just trying to enjoy their everyday, every boys club, okay? Cool your jets, take a chill pill. This is completely normal, insane behavior. Let's watch this video. Let me make sure my volume is working before I do that. Oh, wait a second. Okay, let's watch it together. The Freemasons have gotten a hold of TikTok.
I'm a Freemason. Of course I take my regalia case everywhere I go.
I'm a Freemason. Of course I make subtle references to the ritual during my daily conversation. It is found.
I'm a Freemason. Of course I know all the words of the national anthem.
Completely normal behavior, of course.
I'm a Freemason. Of course, I have several pairs of white gloves in my case.
Several pairs of white gloves in the case. Very normal behavior indeed. I'm sure all of us do the same thing. I mean, I know I have gloves in my car. Several of pairs, in fact. I like their apron. Very cool. Maybe I'm making a completely ignorant statement, but are they allowed to film inside these temples? I thought that was not allowed to disseminate these videos. But anyways, maybe someone who's a Freemason in the chat, which I'm sure there's at least one of you guys, right? Could clarify that for me. But anyways. So checkered floors, by the way, take note of the checkered floors, these red stands here. I think that's a pillow in the middle with a book. A lot of interesting, all these candles here. Everything has a meaning. Everything has a purpose, of course. I used to be more into this stuff and know more about it. I'm into like the symbolism of Freemasonry. It's, by the way, you guys, I mean, it's submerged in every aspect of our culture and mainstream media, just so you know. So just because we have more of a potent example of this right in front of you here doesn't mean that it's not disseminated everywhere else and that you're not taking it in. Everywhere else. Symbolism, the potency of symbolism and the importance and the purpose of symbolism is everywhere. It's in your advertising, it's in your music, it's in basically any major media that you're consuming. So do not be afraid, stand firm with God, but still very abnormal to see all this in not in person, I guess in video, but quite the feast of the senses.
I'm a Freemason. Of course I take my Grand Lodge certificate everywhere I go.
The Grand Lodge certificate.
I'm a Freemason. Of course I wear my pinstripes to work.
Look at this. Look at the floor here. Very interesting.
I'm a Freemason. Of course I play Dungeons and Dragons.
Does he say he plays Dungeons and Dragons? What?
I'm a Freemason. Of course I play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, he said he plays Dungeons and Dragons. That makes sense. I can see how people who play Dungeons and Dragons would be attracted to this lifestyle as well. Very ritualistic.
I'm a Freemason. Of course my non-Masonic
a lot of
friends
lore.
all want to know what the secret handshake is.
The secret handshake. Correct. Anyways, so I'm going to take this off now. I think it's served its purpose. So anyways, like I was saying, Freemasonry has been around for a long time. I mean, historically, has been a big part of the building of the Western civilization, but also before the building of Western civilization. People say that it has its roots in ancient Egypt as well. But what I do want to reiterate here is that although Freemasonry has been around since, I guess, forever, right? There is going to be an uptick. And this is my prediction, but there will be an uptick of young men specifically wanting to engage in more ritualistic behaviors. I do not know what the prevalence of people joining this organization is, but I'm pretty sure it's been taking a dip. But as I will come back with my offensive statistics segment after this commercial break, what we will take a look at is Generation Z becoming more ritualistic and more religious. There's no denying that something like this organization, the Freemasonry, is inherently religious in its practices. No, they don't like specifically worship a god, although you do have to be a believer of God to join. But it has very religious aspects to it. And it's very formalistic. It's really ritualistic. And it is a foundational cornerstone of the building of this country, just like religion. So I'm going to be talking about that. And I think you guys will appreciate it. So I will be right back. Everyone stay tuned. I'm going to be bringing up my next offensive statistic segment on this wonderful special Valentine's Day episode, everyone. I will be right back.
Well, here comes Daniela like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the 4 olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah. Who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Liberty lovers.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to Culturama. By the way, did you know that dogs have a really big role in Valentine's Day? Hence the dog I have right behind me. That's just a little factoid. Back when Valentine's Day used to be called Lupercalia, they actually used to sacrifice dogs and sheep and goats, just so you guys know. Just throwing it out there. Welcome to Culturama, everybody. So, like I said, maybe later on the stream, if we have time, I will talk about the history of Valentine's Day, although I do have a lot to cover, so bear with me. I do have to cut the stream short exactly at the 2-hour mark, because if you stay tuned and you know and you understand what's going on in the 4 Liberty Network, we have the Liberty Tonight show appearing right after mine, so I have to hand off the show to them. But anyways, like I said, if we have time, we'll talk about the history of Valentine's Day and Lupercalia. Anyways, let's jump into the offensive statistics segment. I forgot to play my title card, so let me do that right now here.
Counting numbers driving me mad. Statistics piling, it's all a fad. Everywhere I look, numbers inside. Adding this up, keeping me up at night. Oh, those figures dance and whirl in this cluttered number world.
All right, so before I get into the statistics, I do see here that we have 2 donations, and I wanted to talk about that. Also, Nelson65, your comments are making me laugh. Okay, we have 2 donations. $2 from Nomad Johnny. Thank you so much, Nomad Johnny. I really appreciate it. I'd love to see you on this stream. He wrote, hope you're enjoying a Valentine's Day. Try not to think about me too much. Oh my goodness, Nomad Johnny, it's hard. I will admit it's hard not to think about you, but thank you for your $2. I will try my best. And then we have Entropy Nomad with the $5. Thank you so much, Entropy Nomad. You wrote, Daniela, what is that supposed to mean? Are you throwing shade at secret societies and use RPG gamer groups? I can't help but throw shade at both gamers and at secret societies. But regardless, all jokes aside, it seems to be that these sort of things, they do attract certain types of people. So when that guy said that he played Dungeons and Dragons, I was like, okay, that makes sense. I actually, by the way, factoid about me, I do really enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. I try not to actually play it because I will waste a lot of my time and money doing so. But makes sense. I would be interested in the Freemasonry. Church of Leo the Beast, Nelson 65, you can be the highest priest in the Church of Leo the Beast. Okay, like I said, this is an offensive statistics segment, so let's just jump into the offensive statistics. Like I had opened up with this stream, I do believe and I predict that ritualism and religion is going to skyrocket within this next generation, particularly among young men in Generation Z. A few articles to show you guys what I mean. Young women grow less religious than young men. Okay, let's briefly read this. There's a growing religious divide among younger Americans. Gen Z women of almost all faiths, okay, are more likely to be religiously unaffiliated. Not me, by the way. By the way, I just want you guys to know I am a Christian. But whoops, I got lipstick on the microphone here. Excuse me. Then Gen Z men. So why does it matter? While the overall trend of each generation being less religiously observant than their elders is decades old, the gender split is new. The exodus of young women can be seen in particular in white evangelical congregations, which are becoming smaller and more male. Maybe this is good for those evangelical/Protestant congregations, seeing how left-leaning they've been becoming, but regardless, I digress. The faith divide also reflects a political divide. No surprise there. Polls show young women moving left much faster than young men. So here are the stats. By the numbers, a survey by the Nonpartisan Public Religion Research Institute, or the PRRI, found that 39% of Gen Z women identify as religiously unaffiliated, compared with 31% Gen Z men. So already we're seeing that divide occur here, okay? Only 8% of Gen Z women identify as white evangelicals, compared to the 13% of Gen Z men. And just 6% of Gen Z women say they're black Protestants, compared to the 8% of Gen Z men. So it's even less so when you go outside of like Caucasians, and then you see more with, less so with people of other ethnicities. Okay. And interestingly enough, the proportions of young people identifying as Catholic or Mormon, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and Muslim are also declining by similar rates for men and women. That's really interesting, especially seeing how in some parts of the right wing, Catholicism is growing in popularity, but these seem to be niche pockets. Okay, the state of play. Let's read this part. Gen Z, which includes those born between 97 and 2012. By the way, I reject that notion. I do consider myself a zillennial, thank you very much. I was born in 95. I digress. I'm just kidding. In the most racially and ethnically diverse generation of United States history, by the way. Once again, the most racially and ethnically diverse. Don't know why they divide those two in this article, because when I went to college, I was taught they meant the same thing, but whatever. Anyway, moving on. An estimated 40.8 million Gen Zers will be eligible to vote in November in the general election, 1/6 of all qualified voters. Various studies showed them to be the most left-leaning generation that will be taking part. This is true. Gen Z is the most left-leaning. It is also the most agnostic generation of all the other previous generations. And yet, regardless, with the partisanship that we are seeing between the political parties or ideologies, we are also seeing it happen between the genders, and also religious affiliation. And what this article, even though it's focusing more on young women, what it is stating here is that women, particularly, especially white women in America, are veering more left, and they're also becoming less religious. Who would have thought that leftists are godless people? I'm kidding, kind of. I'm kidding, kind of. Where was the part that said that? Here we go. Gen Z also appears to be more politically engaged than previous rising generations. This is true, especially more than Gen X. Democrats are more religiously diverse, okay? While Republicans are more white and Christian. Not surprised there. So as this article goes on to state, it is also stating that young females are becoming more Democrat and also more, less religious. One of the biggest factors of the Gen Z women leaving is a treatment. Listen to this, you guys. One of the biggest factors why Gen Z young women are leaving their churches and the faith is because of the treatment of LGBTQ individuals, okay? That's really the crux of the matter. It is the feel-good politics, the minority politics, the way that young girls, especially you see this in college, when young women go to college, what will happen is that they get submerged by this, I don't want to call it socialism because that's not what I'm getting at. It's more so this aspect of progressivism and leftism, because these are basically incubators of ideology. That's what universities are right now. Women will start to, it really plays on the emotions and the nurturing aspect of most females, and that they want to take care of the lesser thans, the peripherals, the people that are the most oppressed and affected negatively by society. And what they teach in colleges is that is mostly the minorities, the immigrants, and LGBTQ, mostly LGBTQ peoples. So, and what this article states is that, yes, actually, women who do veer that direction also leave the faith more often. And that's just a trend. And the reason why I also wanted to bring this up is because I found this interesting. Yesterday, an article went out from the New York Times, and I cannot open it here because I do not have a subscription. I tried opening it. I couldn't. So I couldn't read it in full. I read the first 2 paragraphs before it locked me out, okay? But as you can tell by the headline here, it says, and everyone's been sharing this, how Charlie Kirk became the youth whisperer of the American right, okay? And I think all of us that are familiar with the right-wing movement and conservative movement in America kind of looked at it and we're like, is really the case? Yes, Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk are huge contributors to the formation of cultural conservatism in America. But can you say accurately that he is a youth whisperer of the American right? I think Charlie Kirk is was more flexible as ideology, but I wouldn't say he is sort of the youth whisperer, like he's in the know. This is what I wrote. In reality, young men and women are further right than Charlie Kirk. If you're involved in conservative politics, you would know this to be the case. It appears that the legacy media, like that of the New York Times, is once again years behind of the ideological shift that is happening right now. Charlie is sitting at a political alignment that most people were at 10 years ago. The Overton window is shifting. In part, that is thanks to the contributions of the student-led movement and organization like Turning Point USA, and subsidiary organizations like Turning Point Action, of course. But can we accurately say that Charlie Kirk is a youth whisperer and he is spearheading youth conservatism in America right now? I don't really think so. Especially since we are seeing that more and more younger people are becoming far more isolationist than what Turning Point speaks about, and also becoming more religious. Generation Z and Christian nationalism. This is where the Christian nationalism bit comes from, okay? And as we know, I know that Charlie Kirk is Christian and Turning Point USA is Christian, but they are a little bit behind of the times, okay? Regardless of what you think about religion, whether you think it is a fortunate or an unfortunate situation. I have my own opinions about this. Yes, I'm a Christian, I'm a Protestant. I don't know if I personally agree that Christian nationalism is the best way forward. However, I do think Christianity is a major cultural aspect and part of the American tradition and American identity. But should it be a part of the political process? I think that there's room for debate there. But as we will come to read, is that Generation Z and the topic of Christian nationalism, or just religion in general, is becoming a very pertinent issue. And what Charlie Kirk and other figures, even though they're coming to realize the importance of religion in the political movements right now, they're still separated from it. But it's difficult to talk to a youth that is involved in the conservative movement and not discuss their religious affiliation anymore. Generation Z and Christian nationalism. PRRI's Christian nationalism scale, interesting, places Americans in 4 categories: adherents, sympathizers, skeptics, and rejectors. Around 3/4 of the millennials, followed by 68% of Gen Zers and 68% of Gen Xers, and 61% of baby boomers and 54% of the silent generation qualify as either Christian, nationalist, rejectors, or skeptics. Gen Z Republicans are more than twice as likely as independents and more than 4 times as likely as Democrats to qualify as Christian nationalist adherents or sympathizers. Gen Z men are 33%, are 10 percentage points more likely than Gen Z women to qualify as Christian nationalist adherents or sympathizers. Okay? So, as we are seeing here, based on this Christian nationalist scale, we have obviously experienced a bit of a dip with the previous generations, as low as 13 for millennials here. But it's rising. It's slowly, this religious importance scale. Religion is the most important thing in my life. It is rising, particularly with young men, but we're seeing in both genders here, or both sexes rather. It is rising, and Christianity and the importance of religion is becoming more of a deeper aspect. And in the political self-identification of younger people now. And for conservative organizations like Turning Point USA and others to not recognize that or ignore that aspect is going to hurt them in the long run. So that is what we are facing right now here. Hold on a second. Yes. Steel bringer. What did you say? Females also mirror and act as a compliance pushers for their moral authorities. The moral authorities at university are not real moral authorities. Very well put, Steel bringer. Exactly. Yes, females have a very specific role in society, and again, not all, but most, okay? I will reiterate, not all, but most are compliance pushers, and they sort of gatekeep ideas and gatekeep people and gatekeep society in general. And they try to, how do I put this, socially isolate, because that is a woman's strongest weapon, is social isolation. They socially isolate people that they find as dangerous or as social pariahs. And this is, I think, where the idea of the longhouse truly comes from. Because the longhouse is seen as bad by most people, particularly in the right wing, which I can see that being the case. However, it's also good in some respects, because women are the arbiters of what is socially acceptable or not. So that is their role in society for the most part, whereas men are more inquisitive, they're more open to new ideas, and they are the discoverers. They conduct expeditions, and they find new territory, new land, and new ideas. So you do need that balance in society. That's very important, and unfortunately, you will come across some longhousey aspects of that in tradition and in culture, where, ironically enough, even though articles like this are saying that women are very liberal and progressive, and they're open to these progressive ideas, actually, ironically, women are actually far more conservative. They're more inclined to protect themselves, to maintain the peace, and so they are going to follow through with these really rigid systems of control in society. And this is why we articulate that as the longhouse, and that can be annoying, but it is a necessary component for the advancement and creation of civilizations. Women are more orthodox. Yes, Mr. Pig. Exactly. Women are more orthodox. Conservative perhaps is the wrong way to, well, I think conservative still works, but correct. Women are more orthodox. They are more, they question ideas. They are not as open to questioning as much as men are. I found this very interesting discussion online where people are talking about why women love to travel so much. And my speculation is this: women love to travel and love to vacation for various reasons. It's really more of a class thing. But I also do think that it's open and it's an openness to experience. And women score, if you look at the ocean scale, if you don't know what that is, look it up. It tests for OCEA, and 5 aspects of your temperament and personality. But one of them is openness. That's what the O in ocean stands for. Women score high in openness of experience. However, men score higher in openness of concepts and ideas. There is a difference there. And so I think that goes to explain why perhaps why people have this idea and this concept that women are, really open-minded and, they're really intuitive and they're very liberal. And that's not really the case. Actually, what the case is that no, women are actually very scared. We're really like little animals, or little creatures. We're very scared, and we need to be protected from the outside world. And related to that, women typically are afraid of new ideas and foreign concepts. But they're also susceptible to brainwashing. So anyways, this is why we need that balance in society. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to thank everyone that did join the chat today. By the way, if you're still watching, please donate a Rumble Rant. Like I say in every stream, it goes a long way in supporting the show, and it makes it fun. Hence, I have the ears here to make it fun today. Also, I will interact with all of your ideas. If you donate a Rumble Rant, I will read it out loud, given that it's appropriate, of course. And if you want me to cover a particular story or answer a question or a comment, donate a Rumble Rant. Also, if you haven't already, check out the Cold Trauma collection on the 4libertyshop.com to find our many wonderful products, like this wonderful pillow. Very cute, right? And it would make my Valentine's Day, personally, if you guys did that. Anyways, I want to talk about DOGE, and I want to talk about $2.7 trillion in fraudulent transactions next, after this next commercial break. But hello, Grizz Cheese. Welcome to joining the chat. You wrote, hey, all, happy Thursday. Is it a love in tonight? Yes, Grizz Cheese. It most definitely is. Welcome to the St. Valentine's Day stream. Thank you. Rest in peace on Twitch. Thank you for joining Rest in Peace. You asked me, do you think Trump and Putin will divide Europe between themselves? Because, in fact, they are its masters now, and the whole liberal world has collapsed. Oh, man, what a big question. Rest in peace. Really good timing to ask this question to a Ukrainian. Okay, so my thoughts on this. I will be brief. I did see the comments that Trump had for Putin. He also had similar comments for China. I am still going to wait to see what Trump is willing to accomplish or what he is capable of accomplishing in Russia. I don't know. I don't. There may be a divide. I don't know how that will look like. I haven't really considered the foreign issues that are going on in Eastern Europe in the last several months now. But what I can tell you is that I do firmly believe that if Trump were in office in the previous administration, I've always said this, that war would have never happened. And Putin would be way too scared to do what he did. I think now that Trump is in office, it's a bit too late to salvage Ukraine, unfortunately. And as a ethnic Ukrainian, that is very sad of me to say, but unfortunately, that is the case. That's the state where we're in. To say that the entire liberal world establishment has collapsed, I think is a bit far-reaching. I don't know if we reached that point yet. Although I do see that it's an interesting thought. It is. I will concede and say that I do see in perhaps the near future that there will be not just a territorial split, but an ideological split in Europe as well. We are sort of experiencing this with the East Bloc and the West Bloc of Europe, but it'll be interesting to see where Ukraine resides in all this. But I do definitely see. You could argue West Ukraine going more towards the Western Bloc, and East Ukraine already captured, unfortunately. You can't say it's been ethnically captured, but it has certainly been ideologically captured in a lot of ways. Even the languages are different there. So, but anyways, let me pull up the DOGE story for you guys, and I will be right back. Check out the AP for Liberty shop before I get back, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this wonderful Valentine's Day stream. Please share the stream on Twitter or just share the link with your friends. Drop it in your group chats. I will very much appreciate that. Thank you, everyone.
In our little town, so serene, where the grass is green, the air so clean, we gather round the table every night. Joyful days, oh, was I in, with values cast, with generations past, living life with love that surely lasts. As the city lights look bright, we hold to our roots tight, in our hearts the same old fires, guided by the good old days. Sharing moments with friends always divine. Working hard for what we seek, respecting each word we speak, holding dear to our family ties underneath these nostalgic skies. As the city lights so bright, got you tight, in our hearts the same old fire. Day, oh, and we sway with every change of time, but in our hearts, old love and soul, that may be in our heart, getting like a thought ain't not in this fast-paced world we can fight. Traditions keep our hearts going wild, but you'll find in our hearts simple ways.
In the diner, sipping soda pop, jukebox tunes that never stop. I see fades print on different scenes, lost the culture on a different dream. We walk down the same old street, but our stories never meet. Different worlds side by side in this twisting 50s ride.
I'm glowing in the night, shining like a star in this atomic age, and brighter by far. Untouchable energy, it's a glowing affair. Ready and ready, I'll take you everywhere. I'm untouchable now, feel the power in the air. Radioactive rhythm, but sense without care. Electric and alive in this atomic embrace. Unstoppable now in this glowing space.
Okay, we are back at Culturama. I am drinking my coffee because, quite honestly, you guys, I'm running off like 2 hours of sleep, so bear with me. If you want to be as energized as I am, running on little to no sleep, by all means, join the ap4libertyshop.com and purchase yourself some Culturama coffee. It's called the Atomic Blonde Blend. I think you guys will enjoy it. Anyways... and also, please go ahead and donate a Rumble Rant. I'd love to answer your guys' questions or cover any stories. Why no sleep? Ask Steelbringer. Steelbringer, it's because I have insomnia. I'm kidding. I just can't sleep sometimes. And I was writing like multiple articles for my Substack, which you should probably go check out if you haven't already. You might like it. Oh, goodness gracious. Nelson65, what are you writing here? Poor AP and P. Otter. We now have Daniela, Goddess of Liberty, Leo, the Beast of Liberty, Steffi, the Queen of Liberty, a King of Liberty, and Hazel, the Prince of Liberty. And they all have titles. That's really funny, Nelson. Thank you. And I have the title of Goddess. That is huge, actually. Thank you so much. Anyways, let us talk about fraud, you guys. Okay, the DOGE subcommittee just discovered 2.7 trillion in improper payments in Medicare and Medicaid overseas to people who should not have gotten it. Surprise, surprise, right? Democrats, shut the F up. This government spending needs to be audited and gutted. Let's watch what she has to say about this.
No longer with us, unfortunately. Brian.
Yes. I want to go back to DOGE just for a second. Earlier, the subcommittee headed by Chairman Marjorie Taylor Greene, her and her staff discovered $2.7 trillion in 2.7.
Can you guys imagine the magnitude? I cannot even fathom $1 million. So 2.7 trillion is quite a feat to accomplish. Clearly, even more evidence why the government is a completely useless institution for the most part. Let's keep watching.
Payments, Medicare, Medicaid, overseas, to people who should not have gotten it. Some of this room might have missed that press conference. Can you elaborate on what the president is thinking at this point?
Well, again, that's another example. There's a very long list of the fraud, waste, and abuse that DOGE is identifying on a daily basis. Elon Musk also talked about yesterday about Social Security payments that are going out the door for people who are no longer with us. Unfortunately, I would say that is certainly
people are dead and they're still sending this out. I mean, they're actually burning money in a pyre right now. This is the state that we're in. It's disgusting, really. These people should, whoever's running this,
fraud.
I'm not going to say it. Never
also,
mind.
a lot of contracts they've identified that, just as a hypothetical example, are $1 million, but only 500,000 went out the door. So where's the rest of that cash? And so that's the thing. Those are the things that DOGE is working on every single day. And I would just remind everybody in this room, this is what President Trump campaigned on doing. He's delivering on a promise that 77 million people elected him to do.
I had my doubts on Trump. I mean, I've always supported Trump, but of course I've had my doubts like everyone else. You know, I try to be reasonable about these things. I'm not a complete Trump loyalist. Okay. I never was, even though people like to say I am. However, and I will admit, I was skeptical about the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and Musk heading it. I was doubly concerned when they chose Vivek. Regardless, I stand vindicated on that one. However, regardless of what you think about Elon Musk, or regardless of what Trump thinks about Elon Musk, as we know, he may not like him all too well, DOGE is doing great work. And I am so glad that it exists to actually, once again, I stated this previously, to bring into the mainstream actual facts and figures about what's going on with our money. Okay? Money is really everything. Okay? I don't mean that in like a I don't mean that in an idolatrous way. However, money is the window to freedom for a lot of us, and I think a lot of us can relate to that. Okay, it means everything to our society, especially right now with the state of our economy and our job market and the housing market. And they're just outright, the establishment is outright burning money. It's sending it to dead people. It is equivalent of burning it. And not only that, making more so we could be even more inefficient as a society. Anyways, here's a quick press release. Hearing wrap-up. DOGE subcommittee's first hearing uncovers billions lost to fraud and improper payments. It is launching not a program, but a campaign of a war on waste. I'll just read the first paragraph here. The subcommittee on delivering on government efficiency held its I cannot read this stupid Twitter thing, held its hearing today titled The War on Waste, Stamping Out the Scourge of Improper Payments. It is to investigate hundreds and billions of taxpayer dollars wasted on improper payments and fraud. Expert witnesses shared step-by-step plans to improve the payment systems, close loopholes, decrease fraud, and save American taxpayers billions of dollars every year. Members explained how the DOGE subcommittee will aid President Trump and Elon Musk in their efforts to rein in the runaway bureaucracy. Majority members also cited potential legislation that would help facilitate DOGE's efforts to improve payment accuracy and eliminate improper payments and fraud across federal agencies. The DOGE subcommittee's, quote, war on waste will help ensure Americans see their tax dollars spent efficiently and effectively. Thank God, because this has been going far too long. And it has really been the boot on the neck of many Americans for quite some time. Obviously, I don't have to keep saying that for you guys. I think this press release just kind of wraps us up in a nice, neat little bow to show to us what they will do moving forward to hopefully decrease fraud and, answer to and find a resolution to the waste that we have been experiencing for so long. Anyway, but slightly tangentially related to that is this statement by Lee Zeldin. Let's listen to this.
Hi, this is EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. One of my very top
As you can see, Elon Musk shared this. Pretty important.
EPA is to be an excellent steward of your hard-earned tax dollars. There will be zero tolerance of any waste and abuse. An extremely disturbing video circulated 2 months ago featuring a Biden EPA political appointee talking about how they were tossing gold bars off the Titanic.
Literally.
Rushing to the billions of your tax dollars out the door before Inauguration Day. The gold bars were tax dollars.
Yeah, it was.
Them off the Titanic meant the Biden administration knew they were wasting it. Following this revelation, during my meetings with members of Congress, I made a very important commitment to them and to the American people, which I reiterated at my confirmation hearing that if confirmed, I would immediately get a full accounting. Fortunately, my awesome team at EPA has found the gold bars. Shockingly, roughly $20 billion of your tax dollars were parked at an outside financial institution by the Biden EPA.
What a joke. What a joke, you guys.
And it was purposely designed to obligate all of the money in a rush job with reduced oversight. Even further, this pot of $20 billion was awarded to just 8 entities that were then responsible for doling out your money to NGOs and others at their discretion with far less transparency. Just under $7 billion was sent to one entity called the Climate United Fund. I'm sure you and I now have some of the same questions. How do these organizations decide how to allocate funding? How much money
Good question.
so far and to whom?
How do they do that, in fact?
EPA staffers who are now working at this point, there is zero reason to suspect any wrongdoing by the bank. Here's my position as EPA administrator. The financial agent agreement with the bank needs to be instantly terminated, and the bank must immediately return all of the gold bars that the Biden administration tossed off the Titanic. EPA needs to reassume responsibility for all of these funds.
That's right.
We will review every penny that has gone out the door.
It's almost like we should have officials actually do their job. Yes.
At the General's office,
Yes, actually. Maybe they should do that, yes.
the days of irresponsibly shoveling boatloads of cash to far-left activist groups in the name of environmental justice and climate equity are over. The American public deserves a more transparent and accountable government than what transpired these past 4 years.
Yeah.
We take our obligations under the law as seriously as it gets.
Okay, so I don't want to bore you guys too much, but basically what Lee Zeldin had said, I think, really reiterates the point that I've been saying, is that accountability, transparency are the utmost two important things that we need in government right now. In fact, I think this is just a statement of fact for any government, of any society, but especially right now with the United States, because our officials have been hiding behind a shroud of deceptiveness for so long, and they think that just because it is the United States, that means they can get away with it. We've already, DOGE has put their attention to USAID or USAID, whatever you call it, and now they're shifting it to other agencies, and so hopefully major changes will be done in that regard. And lastly, I did want to show you guys this. I just thought it was funny. The Director of Government Oversight says he does not see a widespread malicious waste of government spending. This guy is blind, okay? As you can see in the video right behind me, he's blind. So, of course, he's not going to see a widespread malicious waste. The note, the community note here says this. He is not the Director of Government Oversight. He is a Director of the Government Affairs for an NGO called POGO, which is a project on government oversight. So I don't exactly know what this community note is actually clarifying. But regardless, he is involved in some way in operations that involves government oversight. So anyway, let's watch this.
Waste is different from fraud. Waste is different from fraud. Fraud is different from abuse, and abuse is different from both.
I don't know if you guys can hear what he's saying, but he's talking about how waste is different from fraud and that he has not seen any widespread malicious waste.
There are a subset of those other three categories.
But yeah, well, I would wonder why he didn't see anything. In fact, he is blind.
Sometimes improper payments are a function of bad record keeping. Sometimes they are a function of outdated information technology systems. Sometimes they come about through human error, and sometimes they come about through negligence. There are a variety of reasons why improper payments happen.
Boost the volume, says Nelson65. Oh man, my volume is high. This is as loud as it is, I suppose.
With bad intent.
It's not really important what he's saying. What is important is that he is blind. Nominative determinism times 100. And for those of you that don't know what nominative determinism is, I suggest you look it up, but it essentially means that your name determines your fate and your future. Anyways, which I think there's some truth to, actually. I think our names determine quite a lot about ourselves. For instance, my name, Daniela, means God is my judge. And I think that has come to be a really big... he is blind and mute. Okay, Steelbringer, I'm sorry if he was too quiet. I apologize. That it was as loud as my laptop and my setup has allowed it to be. But I hope you guys were able to listen to the other videos I had up. But thank you for letting me know. By the way, I see here that we have 2 donations in the stream. Oh, thank you so much, you guys. Let me read them out loud here for you on this lovely Valentine's Day evening special stream. Steelbringer, $5. Thank you so much, Steelbringer. I love to see you in the chat and all your contributions. All you wrote was, here you go, thumbs up. I really appreciate that, Steelbringer. Thank you. And then Nelson65, I love your comment. It made me laugh when I was watching the videos. Nelson65, I saw it come up. You wrote, it's called Money to Burn. Indeed, Nelson65. And once again, thank you for purchasing that Leo the Beast pillow. Not that sound effect. I meant this one.
Monster kill.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, you guys, for the donations. I love it. Really appreciate it. Like I said, it really helps the show. It helps the show grow. I'm really trying to hit more numbers. Also, guys, please share the stream, the links. Drop it in all your group chats. Share it with your friends. Let them know about Culturama. And the more people we have on, the greater the chat, the more activity, and the more entertaining the show is for everyone involved, of course. All right. So now, the next thing I have on my roster, which I'll just jump to without going into a commercial break for you guys, because I do want to cover all my stories, are the Democrats. And it's very difficult to do a Culturama show without hitting the other side, am I right? It's all in good fun, of course. It's all a part of the constant conflict that creates the present zeitgeist of America. But Jon Stewart, you haven't heard his name in a while, right? Jon Stewart has made some scathing comments about Democrats and the DNC. I want us to take a listen at that. Jon Stewart asks why Democratic leaders think they need better messaging rather than better policies. House Leader Hakeem Jeffries replies their solution is, quote, making the American people feel that we understand the pain that they've been in. The exact thing that Stewart was criticizing. Let's listen. Hope you guys can hear this one. Let me know in the chat if this is too quiet. I will see what I can do, but I'm doing my best here.
Where is the Democrats' Project 2025? Is that underway? Is there... What's...
The Democrats'
Everything
Project
you're
2025.
saying feels right to me. The Democrats have to make this point. Where's the infrastructure to do that? And who are the leaders taking charge of that effort? Because when I listened to, I believe his name is Ken Martin, is that correct? The new DNC chair?
That's right.
He kept saying it's a messaging issue, as though, no, everything's going right, you just don't realize it yet. As opposed to, we've gotten away from New Deal values. Does that make sense to you?
Well, I think there's a few things going on
We've gotten
here.
away from New Deal values.
How we better communicate with the American people. Maya Angelou said it best. People won't remember what you say. They may not even remember what you do, but they will always remember how you make them feel.
Oh,
and I think
brother.
what we have to do a better job of is making the American people feel that we understand the pain that they've been in economically for a long period of time.
It's... Oh, let me requote that. It's not what you do, it's how you make them feel. Is that what he said?
Remember what you do, but they will always remember how you make them feel. And I think what we have to...
And that's what it matters for. That's all that matters for these people, is how they feel. Jon Stewart, I think, regardless of what you think of him, I think he's coming from a good place right now. He's really trying to offer some help here, and I think what he's saying makes sense, and it's all falling on deaf ears. The Democrats are going to fall on their own sword. In the next 4 years, I don't know if the Democrats will even exist anymore because they are failing. And one way to see how well they are failing, and the emphasis on feelings, no better illustrated than in this video. The Worcester, I think is how you pronounce that, City Council voted to become a transgender sanctuary city after this parade of lunatics, which is what they are, screamed at them. Democrats still don't understand why they lost. Total lunatics, writes this guy, Robbie Starbuck. Make mental institutions great again. Yes, I have been saying this. Let's watch this wonderful video.
Space. I need the city
and I saw you guys' comments saying that the audio was good on the other one. Please let me know if this audio is good as well, because I will just say it here first. You really want to hear what they have to say in this video, okay? So if it's too quiet, let me know.
The federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
Prep yourselves, you guys. The trans people are coming in. Let's listen to that one more time.
Safe space for trans people, You better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
You better prepare. You heard what that person said? You better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space. That sounds like a threat. Let's keep listening. By the way, we need to listen to this sound effect as well, because that is what's happening here. It's a complete clown show. As we will come to see, these people are completely I don't have to tell you. Just watch this video.
I'm shaking right now. I don't want to be here. I'm sorry. Am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
I speak as both
This person's
the
the
B
best.
and the T in the LGBT.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain. I'm on the autism spectrum.
She's on the autism.
And I have narcolepsy.
I would never tell that this person happens to fall on the autism spectrum. I'm sorry. I didn't want to assume, but now we know. I'm glad that they cleared it up for
And I
us.
couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from
I'm
my
shaking
driver
right now.
that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want to be here. It's my day off.
Let's be honest. This person, as you can see, put on quite a bit of makeup on. Sort of like what I did today, but in a different fashion. You think that they really didn't want to be there that day? These people revel in this kind of exhibition. I do not believe this individual whatsoever when they say they did not want to be there. I think they were looking forward to it for quite a while, actually. Because these people love to be victims. That's what they are. They are perpetual, professional, terminal victims. We all can be victims. But this individual was clearly looking forward to this state of affairs, and I think they enjoy it quite well.
I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on...
I don't know if this person behind her is laughing at her, but this encapsulates my sentiments exactly. A part of me is also embodying and manifesting with whatever energy is right here behind with this man as well. Both.
Face, so that you will hear...
Look at everyone's face too. Everyone's just like, oh, brother. Especially this guy. None of them want to be here right now or listen to this.
On my face, so that you will hear and see me. I want you to listen to me.
Let us remember that the Nazis burned the books that the Nazis burned books on gender sciences.
Buddy, you couldn't practice at least for 5 minutes before you got here. You already stumbled on your first sentence. Congratulations, sir. He's already stumbled on the first sentence, everyone. Okay, let's keep watching.
First. Now the administration has villainized and marginalized migrant workers, trans, LGBT people.
You can't even keep up with the alphabet. You might as well just state the alphabet, good sir. It's LGBTQIA+. Even I can say it, and I do not believe in anything that they're speaking of right now.
Special needs, denying life-saving and affirming care.
Can you look at me and tell me
that man's problem is not because he's low IQ. It's only because that he did not have shameless product placement, by the way, incoming. He does not have his own Culturama Atomic Blonde coffee roast brew. So if you do not want to look like or speak like that previous individual that we have just seen here, get yourself a bag. I will be shilling that a little later on the stream. But yes. Once again, ap4libertyshop.com, Culturama Collection, Atomic Blonde Brew. Continuing.
How many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please wrap
Look
up.
at me.
Okay, we're all done here.
Look at them.
Fucking pathetic.
We're all done. Come on.
Of course, we need to continue celebrating Black History Month because in spite of what's coming down from Washington, we all know that we all exist and we all need to be recognized for our existence.
Yes, we all exist.
But be aware that you are a guest in...
I guess I was wrong. This woman is on their side. Ignore her. She's not one of us.
My house.
I love the grapes on the hair. Very interesting touch. I'm getting like a vineyard vibe. Love it. Okay.
When you come. And when you come, know that there are strong, queer and trans people in my classroom who will collect you with the quickness.
My name in drag is Dee Dee Delight.
Oh my god.
And my name out of drag is Dewey Cosgrove Atienza.
Laddie LaRouge, he, they, in drag, District 3.
My legal name is Olivia D'Ambrosio. My public name is Livy Scanlon. My wife and I own a home in the Canal District.
I speak as someone who is always misgendered, like all the time. People refer to me as sir when
I will be honest, as a woman, when I see this individual, I do get a little frightened. I have like a visceral reaction to this one in particular. I don't know what it is. I think it's just his monolithic presence. I don't feel safe even right now watching this from the screen. But you know what? I want to God bless him, her, they, them, whatever their pronouns are. I hope they find God.
I prefer to be referred to as ma'am.
As ma'am,
I speak
yes.
as someone who is afraid to use public toilets. I speak as someone who is a member of this community and is a queer person.
You have to imagine being me and my wife, fearing that our marriage rights will be stripped away at any moment.
Please, I only have so much time. Please, Joe's gonna cut me off.
Which matters more? Covering the legal fees of systemic police brutality or protecting the lives of queer people in our community? How many lives have to be lost before you consider fighting back against fascism and corruption?
Now is the time to say that if federal money relies on the dehumanization of trans people, that we don't want your goddamn...
Okay, this guy is the opposite of the other one who needed the Atomic Blonde coffee. This guy has his stuff on lock. He's locked in. Good for him. He's practiced. At least they have someone who's competent in this affair. Okay, great.
Money.
I get that some of you care more about about easy.
Interesting. I love the very interesting. I'm not going. It's not going to incite a reaction from me. I'm just watching respectfully.
Lives and don't mind Nazis for some whatever reason, but
normally I would say
appreciate that this one at least dressed up. I'm not going to say well, but an effort was made.
Evening. But through the chair, I will only impart my sour grapes.
It's an extremely emotional and taxing thing to stand up here as someone as part of the trans and gender diverse community.
My name is Katie. I'm from District 5, and I'm speaking in support of agenda items 10B and 14B. Right now in our country, Trump is threatening the trans and gender diverse community.
Noticing people here are trying
oh, geez, they have a kid roped in on this. Oh, my God. He's like, oh, my God, no.
Of others, and that's not right.
Millstone on the neck, I believe, is the Bible verse. Of the parent, not the kid.
For a sanctuary city for trans people, everybody deserves
Don't bring
to
the
feel
kids
safe
into this.
and
Even his shirt has like the flag upside down. Oh, brother.
everybody needs to feel
You hate
safe.
to see it.
I've
hate to
lived
see
here
it.
for 4 years, and there hasn't really been any changes in how people feel safe in the city. My birthday is this Saturday, and all I want is peace and for you to vote yes. Please don't let me down for my birthday. There's a lot of queer people that I love, and to Candy Carlson, you should know to never call someone. I'm 7, and I know better.
He's
The kids
7.
Are watching,
Jeez.
and we're ready to vote you out.
They roped in a 7-year-old on this one. Makes them look very stable individuals.
Oh my gosh.
Only the most stable individuals. Okay, well, this is, like I said, I don't think they learned anything. And I think that your average American would look at this and think twice about supporting a party that supports this. Again, they have, for the most part, I think circuses should make a comeback, to be honest. I like circuses. I have Slavic blood. We love circuses. We don't need circuses, actually, because we have it right here. No animals involved, but boy, there are a lot of clowns. All right, I'm going to be right back, you guys. I have a couple more stuff for you. I know we have only 30 minutes left. I can't believe the stream's already over. I've been doing longer streams, and I love it. I love interacting with you guys. The Liberty Tonight show will be on later after this show, so I have to hand the other show this space for them. So I'm just going to be going through my stories one by one. Send in a Rumble rant. I'd love to hear your guys' comments, and I will be right back. Hang in there, and I'm going to be bringing up the next couple stories, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy these next few ones.
Well, here comes Daniela like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the 4 olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah. Who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty lovers, stop scrolling.
Welcome everyone back to the stream. Okay. I see a comment on YouTube. Mac Nur. Looking good, looking so good, DPI. When I read your comment, Mr. Mac, I thought you meant DP, like my initials. I don't know what the I stands for, so please clarify and let me know what you mean by that. Nelson65 is asking the timeless question: if it isn't genitals that makes your gender, then how can changing them affirm it? Exactly, Nelson65. These people completely fall on the sword of their own reasoning. Guys, we have 30 more minutes left until I have to hand off this show to the Liberty for the Liberty Tonight show. But before I do that, I want to cover just a couple more stories with you. They're fun and they're sort of related to the theme of Valentine's Day. I don't know if I'll have enough time to discuss the history of Valentine's Day or Lupercalia, but we do have some time to engage and enjoy in some videos and some funny stories. So let's take a listen let's first listen to this video. This is Slavoj Žižek. For those that don't know who he is a rock star philosopher of our time. Some would even say the Hegel of the modern day. And he has a few comments about what love means. The path to love is through trash. Let me know if you guys can decipher whatever the heck it is this guy is saying. Let me make sure the volume's up. Okay.
Because what is love? Love is not idealization. Every true lover knows that if you really love a woman or a man, that you don't idealize him or her. Love means that you accept a person with all its failures, stupidities, ugly points, and nonetheless, the person's absolute for you. Everything like that makes life worth living, but you see perfection in imperfection itself. And that's how we should learn to love the world. True ecologist loves all this.
Even the ecologist loves the trash, and therefore you should as well. You should love all the imperfections. I'm just kidding. I agree with what he says. I thought that was sweet, and even though Slavoj Žižek is difficult to decipher and understand sometimes, I think that was a very salient point on his part, and it provides a lot of material for us to ponder. So let me know what you guys think love is. Of course, that is embracing all the imperfections of the individual that you are projecting yourself onto and developing your agency with, which is another big aspect of my belief system, is developing one's agency. Anyway, Ohio bill would fine men for ejaculating without intent to conceive. This is another big story that I think is pertinent to the holiday season that we find ourselves in this week. I wanted to read this with you guys. Okay, and as you can see with the pictures here, indicating or elaborating, illustrating the topic here. Okay, Ohio lawmakers introduced the, quote, Conception Begins at Erection Act, or the CBEA. Now, granted, it is a satirical bill, okay? So relax, you guys. We haven't reached that point yet. Speaking of right-wing nationalism, or Christian nationalism, anyway, it is a satirical bill that would fine men up to over $10,000 for, pardon my French, ejaculating without trying to conceive. The goal? Expose the double standard in reproductive laws. State reps Anita Somani and Tristan Rader say if lawmakers can regulate women's bodies, men shouldn't be exempt. Somani stated, let's start policing men the same way. The fines start at $1,000 and rise for repeat offenders. It can go up to $10,000. The bill isn't expected to pass. Relax, guys. But it's fueling debate as Republican Rep. Austin Beagle pushes a competing bill to grant embryos full legal rights, which could overturn Ohio's 2023 vote protecting abortion access. If regulating men's bodies sounds ridiculous, why isn't it for women? Source: New York Post. There's a picture. This individual here wrote, equality, remind me which laws ban female masturbation, which law bans ovulation without intent to conceive. Well, that's really far. Wow. My God, imagine if every time a woman ovulated, she had to conceive. Yikes. Though I have to admit, I kind of like the idea of forcing Republican lawmakers to go on record in favor of jacking off. So what do you guys think of this bill? Quite the head scratcher, and it does raise the question about the at what point is life considered a life, right? At what point does life develop? I saw some other funny tweets here. I'm trying to find some more. It looks like people are actually taking this seriously, which is kind of depressing, actually, because when I first went on this tweet, the comments were, they all realized it was a joke, it was a satirical bill, but now it looks like people are actually taking it seriously, and that's making me nervous. Politicians that have time for these games are not taking the situation in the country seriously enough. Serious enough. Exactly. I agree with this stand-up figure, Jeremy L. There are more pressing issues in the country right now, And to pose a satirical bill like this is a bit funny. So this person writes, JRP, so how does that go for guys that have had vasectomies? And also, what the hell are they gonna do? Just gonna have, excuse my French once again, the jizz detectives going house to house with a UV light. Mr. JRP, that's kind of the point of it being satirical. Yes, of course, there is really no way of them, finding out if the deed was done and or if the intention was to conceive. Here is a synopsis of it on Twitter. I basically just read the same thing for you. Here's a video about it.
Representatives Anita Somani and OBGYN sponsored by Democratic State Representatives Anita Somani and OBGYN from Dublin and Tristan Rader of Lakewood.
The whole entire point of this bill is to call out the hypocrisy of particularly the state legislature when they bring forward bills to regulate women's bodies.
Now, there are exceptions to the proposed law, which include sperm donation, contraception, and members of the LGBTQ community.
Oh, geez.
Men face a maximum $10,000 fine after the third offense. If they have...
Say if this was legitimate, not a satirical bill, what do you do with the members of the LGBT community? That is quite interesting.
Have sex with a woman without the intention.
I mean, fair. It does posit a very interesting, philosophical concept.
Of
anyway, but I won't.
Conceiving a child.
Keeping it lighthearted.
The same rights no matter where they go in the country. Women have rights based on where they live.
It just misses the most basic biological facts and leans in towards middle school humor.
Austin Beigel with End Abortion Ohio calls the proposal disrespectful to the pro-life community and a waste of state resources.
That's kind of the point. Is meant to be disrespectful, obviously, but
review it when they file it. They're going to have to stick a legal team on it, wasting time on that and delaying other bills that are trying to be reviewed as well.
ABC6 asking viewers about the proposal in an online poll. 26% said it's a good idea. 74% telling us it's a waste of time.
This may be considered a waste of money by some people, but we have had far bigger
a waste of money indeed it is.
Misuse of taxpayer money in bills that have been proposed and passed.
The final draft still being written. The proposed legislation will get a hearing after it's submitted.
What a
but with
joke.
A Republican-controlled
What a great waste of time, of our resources and money. Now, if we are going to consider this, right, people have been posing the question like, well, it's not as though female climax is regulated, so therefore this can't really make sense as a bill, even though it's meant to pose like, it's meant to be like a, it's meant to reveal the quote hypocrisy of the pro-life lobby regulating women's bodies. And people are saying, though, in response to that, if we are to take it seriously, you can't control, female orgasm isn't being completely, isn't being referenced here. So why is it that the erection is being regulated through this proposed law? Although I think, however, I think it's a waste of time and money to waste our time talking about this bill. I mean, in the House, in the State House, in the state legislative building. But to be fair, you don't need female climax to impregnate them, to conceive. I mean, so I do think it poses a very interesting philosophical question, is all I'm going to say, and I'm going to end it there. But my goodness, what is going on in my feed? Anyways, but it does highlight the hypocrisy, is what they claim. It's highlighting the hypocrisy of the, quote, bodily autonomy laws that are, that are affecting women, apparently, in Ohio. So these legislators are drawing up quite a stir. And a stir they have done. Good for them. I'm glad that they're, really making this front page news, because they really easy to do when you talk about something like erections, especially on Valentine's Day coming weekend. But what an utmost waste of time. And I think that's the real story here, is a waste of time that is being conducted here. And honestly, I'm getting kind of grossed out talking about this. So let's talk about something a little bit more cozy, okay? This was a topic of discussion last week, I think it was. And it was concerning what J.D. Vance said about the order of love, or the circle of love. And this has actually spurred on quite a bit of a debate online. It's religious in nature. And this is what he had to say. Tell me in the chat if you guys agree with, what J.D. had to say about this.
First. But there's this old school, and I think it's a very Christian concept, by the way, that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country, and then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world. A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. They seem to hate the citizens of their own country and care more about people outside their own borders. That is no way to run a society. And I think the profound difference that Donald Trump brings to the leadership of this country is that the simple concept, America first. It doesn't mean you hate anybody else. It means that you have leadership, and President Trump has been very clear about this, that puts the interests of American citizens first. In the same way that the British Prime Minister should care about Brits and the French should care about the French, we have an American president who cares primarily about Americans, and that's a very welcome change.
What is President Xi doing? What is Vladimir Putin?
He's looking after the Chinese. Putin is looking after the Russians. They're entitled to do that. Thank God we now have an American president who's looking after the citizens of his own country.
Nelson65 in the chat, I agree with you. I think he is right. I think that it does make sense. Of course, there have been a lot of naysayers, and there has been quite a bit of a speculation, as it says right here by this tweet, about whether or not what he is saying is scripturally sound. This person wrote, where in the Bible does it say to love her family first? This person wrote, go ahead and pretend you love some stranger in Gabon as much as you do love your wife and children. Exactly. Now, this is, of course, a bigger topic. And first of all, I'm actually going to say this. J.D. Vance is completely wrong, because I love all of you guys in the chat, especially when you donate a Rumble Rant, but my love is not conditional. Thank you, every single one of you that has decided to join on this Valentine's Day stream. I really do appreciate it. But let's just consider what JD is saying here, and perhaps what he is saying makes a lot of intuitive sense and natural sense. There is a hierarchy of love or affection or attachment that is very... Rowhouse, welcome to the chat. Good to see you. Thank you so much, Rowhouse. Anyway, continuing with what I'm saying. It makes a lot of sense what he is saying here, because... And I sort of view this as, I'm going to get a little deep here. I'm sorry, I might have a viewership drop off, because this is what happens when I talk about philosophical topics. But there's a circle of love and a circle of attachment. You know, you have your immediate family first, and then you have perhaps your friends, then your acquaintances, and then so forth and so on. Similarly, how a president should act when he's conducting the businesses of his country. He should put his people first. Some may say that is isolationist. However, I would say that just makes intuitive sense, and it makes sense for the human species, actually. There is also a totem of consciousness. Now, I actually haven't talked about it on stream, but this is a belief system that I hold, and I think a lot of people do hold, is that there is a totem of consciousness where we should place value on life forms that have more consciousness than others. Humans we should place above dogs, per se, although sometimes that is difficult to do with the state of humanity right now, I will admit. Regardless, we should put humans over most other mammals. We should put mammals like dogs, cats, horses, things with a higher intelligence, higher consciousness, higher emotive response, emotive response. We should put that above perhaps like rodents or, reptiles, and beneath that, fish. So you guys are getting what I'm saying here. It's a level of consciousness and intelligence that they exude. And there is, obviously, I like to base things on IQ and intelligence personally. Obviously, an octopus, you may look at an octopus and you would say that it's difficult to comprehend as a human, or have any affection for an octopus, like you do have for a dog, for instance. However, an octopus has a lot of so-called intelligence, what we deem as intelligence, more than some mammals. So there must be some hierarchy that we evaluate life forms on. Similarly, we do the same thing with those that we love. And I think what JD Vance is saying here makes a lot of sense. I know what I'm saying is kind of off the wall here. I apologize, guys. But I do agree with what Nelson65 said in the chat. God first always. Absolutely, Nelson65. And you should put God first because God puts you first. God loves you. And what we are taught and what I truly believe more than any life form. So within the inner circle, even more so than, I mean, some may say your family is God. And you know, in most other cases, your nation. But I think what JD Vance is saying here makes the utmost sense. I think it makes natural sense, and it makes sense within my own belief system. Safety third, correct entropy nomad. So, a very contentious topic. However, one thing he was wrong about is that the utmost love comes first is for your audience. Rowhouse, we have $10 in the chat. Thank you so much, Rowhouse. Let me read your comment here. Thank you so much, Rowhouse. I was waiting on you to join the chat. Daniela's view on this tweet. Thank you so much, Rowhouse, for your $10 donation. It is very much appreciated. You wrote, Daniela's view of this tweet by John Bolton on Russia and Ukraine. You guys will just not let go of that topic, will you? Okay, let's... Oops, sorry, I pinned your comment here. Rowhouse. I'll take a look. I'm opening it up, the tweet right now, Rowhouse. Okay, this is going to be a big one. Well, we have 13 more minutes left of this show. Rowhouse, I'm sorry, it is a Thursday, so I will have to end it at the 2-hour mark this time. But I will be streaming again on Saturday. Endless stream until I can't handle it anymore. So I hope to see you on Saturday, Rowhouse, and the rest of you as well, so you can catch more streaming time. Okay, this is what you asked me to view, Rowhouse. I'm going to read it right now. John Bolton writes, and I do not follow him, correct? All right. It is unconscionable to allow Russia to assault Ukraine's sovereignty, recruit enemies like North Korea to aid their fight, and then sell out the Ukrainians by conceding the loss of their territory and NATO security guarantees or membership. By making these and other concessions before negotiations even started, Trump has effectively surrendered to Putin. On Ukraine. Okay, this is one out of the 3. He goes on, I warned many times that Trump will favor Russia in negotiations between Zelensky and Putin. Russia's military performance has been miserable, but Trump is vindicating Putin's decision to invade. I feel like I should take off the ears for this one, you guys. Sorry. It's more of a serious analysis here. The harm to U.S. security interests will extend well beyond Central Europe, as our adversaries in the Middle East and the Indo-Pacific can plainly see. It is incumbent on the U.S. leaders to stand unequivocally with Ukraine and whatever NATO allies stick with Kiev. It is not in our national interest to let the Kremlin's unprovoked aggression against Ukraine prevail. Shame on the Trump administration. Okay, so Rowhouse, thank you for this. It's going to be a very long and arduous explanation, but I'll do my best to keep it brief and to sound balanced on this. Nelson65 asks what time on Saturday. It'll be the same start time on Saturday, Nelson65, like the same on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central. Anyways, so this is a very difficult topic for me to cover because for the most part, I would consider myself more of a nationalist and more of an isolationist as it pertains to foreign interference and foreign entanglements. Yes, I do think we should have positive allyship with neighboring nations, with some peripheral nations, although I don't think we should have nations completely dependent on us like we have done. And this, of course, also extends to Greater Europe, and I do think we should have mostly a positive relationship with most of Europe as best we can. Now, given that I am Ukrainian ethnically, and I do have family that have attachments to Ukraine, it is difficult for me to look at the situation completely unbiased and say that. However, because as Ukraine's sovereignty and history is concerned, sovereignty is a big, big deal for Ukrainians and their national identity. So it's difficult to remove myself from this emotionally to a degree. However, I will say this, is that right now, unfortunately, it does seem as though it will be very difficult to make it's going to be very difficult to find a solution without having some concessions in place. And no, Trump is not perfect, especially when it comes to international relations. But I do think that he's trying his best in negotiation right now. He is speaking with Putin, and I do think that, and I've said this earlier in stream today, and I've said it before. If Trump was in office during the previous administration time period, this war wouldn't have happened. Putin wouldn't have done what he has done. And we have went past the point of no return. And so it'll be very difficult. It'll be very difficult to find a solution to this without expending our own resources even longer, which is what John Bolton seems to be concerned with. I think it'll be difficult to do that for an even greater duration of time and still ensure Ukraine's sovereignty. This is affecting both countries very deeply. It's impacting them very deeply. And, no, Russia isn't doing so well, but they can still move forward and inch forward. I do, unfortunately, think some concessions will be made. However, I do believe that we should concede as least as possible and concede as least as as little land as possible as we can. Now, I do also think that considering if we do, push Ukraine to concede some territory, territory or land for Russia, the United States and the rest of Europe needs to expedite the process of Ukraine joining NATO. No, I'm not thrilled about the existence of NATO as a power, but that is one of the things that we should offer to Ukraine if we are going to push them towards conceding any part of their land, especially since, like I said, as far as Ukrainian identity and national sovereignty and history is concerned, the national identity and history is concerned, sovereignty, independence is huge for Ukrainians. And I genuinely think, regardless of what you think about us giving them foreign aid, I do really think, and I do strongly believe that the reason why Ukraine could withstand so much, as it already has, against Russia is that prior history and that fighting spirit that Ukrainians have. Yes, ethnically, Ukrainians and Russians are very similar. It's brother against brother. That's what makes this foreign issues so unique. It's not like the Palestinians versus Israel situation. There's still somewhat of an ethnic and religious divide between those groups. This is literally brother fighting against brother, and yet, so it's the same ethnicity, same religious background, but territorial lines is still what dramatically divide these people, and I guess language to some degree as well. But that's same thing. So it'll be very difficult to, I think, move forward without at least expediting the process for Ukraine to join NATO and securing that, and for them to still retain some modicum or some sense of sovereignty like they didn't have before. Yeah, I mean, yes, they did for a certain period of time since the dissolution of the Soviet Union. But we have had corrupt official after corrupt official in that country, and corrupt officials in general. Hasn't had the strongest foreign presence. And regardless of what you think about Zelensky, no, he's not perfect, but you know what? He's doing his best to at least retain that image of sovereignty and Ukrainian nationhood more than what the previous leaders of that nation has in the past. But anyways, that went a little too long. Thank you so much for your donation, Row House, and I'll do my best to answer the questions at length. I hope that answered the question. I hope that made it somewhat understandable. You wrote, I would never have guessed Daniela was Ukrainian. Either looks Swedish. Yes, yes. Yes, Row House, I've been to an all Dutch school, actually. I've attended private Christian school for a great duration of my education, high school, middle school, and a lot of people assumed I was Dutch or Nordic, Swedish. I am actually Eastern European. I am primarily Ukrainian, and I have some Georgian in me. And I do not mean Georgia in the state of Georgia. I mean the country of Georgia next to Turkey. So, so yes, I'm mainly Eastern European. Nelson, 65, you've outdone yourself. You have donated $5. Thank you so much, Nelson, 65. And you wrote, hold on, let me get on the first. Hold on. Okay. Nelson 65, you wrote Happy Valentine's Day. I'd ask you to be mine, but I don't want to make your fiance jealous. Nelson 65, how could you? How could you upset the simps on this stream? Very unforgiving. Very unforgiving. People were not supposed to know, Nelson. People are not supposed to know. Thank you so much, Nelson 65. I appreciate that, though. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. You're not going to make anyone jealous, Nelson 65. I promise you. It's all cool. I can still be yours, okay? It's all cool. And since you sent the donation, I most definitely will be. Thank you. Row House. Anti-white stuff. DICRT is normally what I focus on. Yes. I do focus on that quite a bit on my streams. I only brought this topic up because it came up in the news. Totally okay, Row House. You know, I really got into it, and I did see the viewership spiked, and I was talking about it for some reason. So your topics, Row House, actually work well for this show. I do appreciate and love your interactions and your input. So by all means, you know, please go ahead and keep referring me to stories if you want me to. Guys, we have reached the last few minutes of this stream. Like I said, it is Thursday. I haven't even had a chance to go to the gift shop. Next stream. On Thursdays, I have to end at exactly 2 hours because we have the Liberty Tonight show. So I will be sharing a link to their stream next up. So stay with me here. But I will have to cut it off here. However, I will be streaming on Saturday. This Saturday, yes, I will be streaming same start time, 5 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Central. And it's going to be a longer stream. I may be gaming. I'm going to try to figure that out. I want to game. I really do. I want to play Fallout. So I'm trying to get hooked up. There's more to it than I thought there would be. So I'm working on that. Also, for you guys that are still listening, I will, next week, I will be out. I will be flying to a different state. I'll be flying to Wisconsin. So next Tuesday and Thursday, unfortunately, I will not be able to stream, but I will be back after the 21st to resume streaming, everyone. I just wanted to let you know. Liberty Tonight show. Let me pull that up for you guys to throw the link in the chat. All right. I'm going to throw the link in the chat. Everyone, I'll see you at the Liberty Tonight show and in the... I knew you couldn't be available. It's okay, Nelson65. I'll still be available on stream. Entropy Nomad, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the Chilling Gaming stream as well. And see you on Saturday, Row House. Thank you, everyone. I am dropping the link to the Liberty Tonight show right now. And let me do the outro here.
In the heart they gather strong.
Let me do the send-off.
Pushing back the...
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Cold Trauma, the Valentine's Day stream. I hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day tomorrow. Thank you for participating, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. And thank you for taking part in the Zeitgeist. I will see you guys on Saturday. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening. And I will see you on Saturday. I just said that. Let's reclaim the traditional spirit of Americana together, everyone. Thank you, and good night.
Every town, we've got the power now. The Reds are going down. With a flagpole planted firm, golden dreams that won't decay, marching proudly through the day. In the eagle's shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got got the power now. The Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we stride in the light of freedom's guide. We got the power now in the heart of every town. We've got the power now.